Hi everyone, this is Materasso from the Republican Party for America, the RPA. Today we will be talking about immigration. Now before we get started, I just want to point out that this may be a controversial issue for some of you, so I just want to, make sure you guys stick with us on it. And alongside me is another co-founder, Jon Renzulli, and later in the podcast, Dan Dioria will also be joining us. So first off, John, how are you?
Good, Matt. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So John, what's your viewpoint on immigration?
Well, Matt, I just want to start off by saying that I am humbled and very proud to be descended from immigrants who not only settled but joined our country and helped make it the way it is today through their hard work. You see, immigrants came here, they sacrificed everything they had in their home country to come here and make a better lives for themselves, and that's how America is the way it is today, because of these immigrants. Now, I want to say that I firmly support legal immigration. I respect those who, within our legal bounds, come to our country as legal citizens, and although it is a difficult process, they stick with it the whole way in order to join our great nation. And that ties in with what makes America so great: hard work and sticking with it, not giving up to be successful. And that's what these legal immigrants do, as opposed to illegal immigrants who I really have a hard time finding any respect for, who who sneak, they cheat, they go against our law processes, and I can't find any reason to respect them for coming here illegally.
Okay, so John, obviously there was a major difference in how people immigrated into the United States, dating back all the way, to the early 1700s, to the late 1800s, and the early 1900s. So I was just wondering if you could tell, me a little about, how people immigrated to the United States in those different time periods.
Well, it even goes back farther than that. In 1607, the first settlement that was a success at Jamestown, Virginia. And, at first this wasn't a success. The English came here thinking that they'd find gold, glory, and have their guns, and it would be easy as that. But it wasn't even close. They had a real rough time trying to find food, clean water. It was a whole new world to them. But, they took on that challenge. They knew that this wasn't going to be England, and there was going to be something different. But they made it their own. And by finding the tobacco crop and using that as a key to their lifestyle, as to growing, to creating towns and such. And I also want to add that African slaves brought here from Africa, they actually contributed much more than you think they did. If not for them and their work on plantations and harvesting tobacco, very little chance that our colony would have went anywhere. And no one likes slavery. It's a horrible, evil thing. But their work actually made our colony succeed. Not only that, in Plymouth Rock, the first immigrants from the Puritans who arrived at Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts, off the Mayflower, almost half of them died during the first winter. But they pressed on. They wanted to build a city upon a hill, and that's what they did, from some help from the Native Americans who helped them know the land and make it their own. And that's how our foundation as a country was what it was.
Right. And I just want to go back to what you were explaining about with, how African Americans helped, further this great country of America. Even though they were brought over to this country as slaves, they did help help the United States succeed in a great way, even though it was through an unethical matter.
Without them, it would have been very difficult to start up our Jamestown. So.
Right, and many other towns too.
Especially Jamestown.
Okay.
I want to go back to what you're saying. It wasn't after the colonial immigration, which included colonies such as Maryland, New Jersey, New York, from various ethnic groups. The Dutch, the Scotch-Irish, the Germans settled the Western Virginia, along with the Germans in Pennsylvania, the Dutch in New York and New Jersey, the Swedes in New Jersey. Many ethnic groups contributed to our colonies to make it one, America, and really grateful for that. That's how we get our great diversity today. And,
right.
We move on to...
Diversity is key.
It is. We move on to the pre-Civil War era, 1840s, 1860s, when a lot of the Irish and Germans came here, along with some English and some more groups. They were discriminated against. The Irish weren't considered white. The Germans were considered foreigners to the fullest extent because, they spoke German. They weren't Anglo-Saxon to be exact, so they were discriminated against. But these immigrants, fought in the Civil War. They contributed to a lot to our culture, and we're very thankful for that. That's it.
All right, so let's just shift gears a little bit. So now in America today, there are almost 12 million illegal immigrants. In the United States today, according to the United States Census Bureau, that's a very concerning thing for me, to realize when I read those facts. But also, I'm sure it's a concern for most other Americans out there. So, John, what's your proposal in order to fix, or make better and solve the immigration problem in the United States? Even though I know we can't solve, all 12 million immigration, illegal immigrants at once. It is a gradual process.
Right. Well, I just want to add one last thing because I don't want to go rambling on, but I could for a long time because this is such an interesting topic. But, Ellis Island immigrants, too, contributed a lot. But I could keep going on, but I don't want to forget them because they're very important.
Right.
Now, with the 12 million illegal immigrants we currently have in our country, it's almost impossible. It is impossible to say, have to deport all 12 million because, one, that would cost a tremendous amount of money. Two,
and we're in debt already, which is already a problem in and of itself.
It would be a very useless spending. And not to mention that, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary because, believe it or not, a lot of these immigrants have something to offer. A lot of them, first of all, were brought here against, not even knowing. They were minors, they were young kids, and the parents brought them here. Second of all, although some might be illegal, some join the military, some build businesses, some gain citizenship later. I know a guy in my town has a small business, and he gained citizenship. And that's great because he's contributing to our country. Illegal immigrants that can gain citizenship and can contribute to our country belong here. Those who have a criminal record, those who aren't really trying, those who are on food stamps, those who don't seem to have any drive, they should be sent back. No question about it.
So basically, it should be based upon whether, the illegal immigrants, leave or stay is based on, do they get their citizenship at some point, when they come to the United States.
I'd be willing to accept any illegal alien who wishes to contribute to our culture, who wishes to become part of our culture, to assimilate into our culture, because they are what other immigrants in the past believe. They want to be part of this great nation. And if they're here for simply economic purposes, then I don't see a reason why we should keep them here. But those who want to become part of us, no question.
Yeah, I just want to clear up, even though it is called, illegal aliens, they are people too. So they have to be respected also.
Right. And they are respected. The fact that, they are people, but we have laws here. And
we do. Which should be stricter when it comes to immigration.
Without a doubt, which moves on to my next point. There's no reason why, with all the money this president has been spending on just useless things, increasing our deficit.
Can you name some of those useless things?
He increases the wages for congressmen.
Right.
That's one thing. The other thing is the stimulus bill. That is a useless bill to pass. That cost almost $1 trillion.
Of Obamacare and Medicare.
Right. Obamacare might seem useful to some people, but the stimulus is not. And that I don't want to get off topic here, but the stimulus bill was completely useless. Government should have no intervention in the economy whatsoever, and that was useless. But getting back to my point, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to fund protecting our borders, because that is definitely a responsibility of the government to protect our borders, to put, in my opinion, National Guard on our borders, build a fence at our borders, make it very hard to enter our country illegally, make it almost impossible. And I know some will trickle in. It's impossible to keep them all out, but we gotta make it harder to do so, and we can.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Alright, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, and now I'm gonna bring up a couple of current, situations that many illegal immigrants are wondering about, as well as citizens of the United States. And to join me and John is Dan Dioria, another co-founder, of course. Dan, how are you?
Matt, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So my first situation that I want to bring up is, the illegal parents come into the United States, they have a kid. Obviously, that kid is now...
Have a kid in the United States.
Yeah. You didn't let me finish. I was going to finish.
Yeah. All right, I'm sorry.
All right, guys, take it easy.
So the parents come to the United States to have a kid. Obviously, the kid is now...
Naturally a citizen
because they were born in the United States.
Yeah.
But so now what should we do? Because now we have a little problem because the kid, is a citizen, but the parents are not. So I'm going to head it over to John first, and then Dan, you can respond.
Okay.
So John, what do you think about this?
Well, this is a very difficult issue, no doubt.
Yeah.
First of all, for the child's sake, being born in the United States, it makes you a citizen. That's always how it's been. That's how it always will be. If you were born in the United States, you are a citizen. That's not your choice. So they should, by all means, stay in the country. As for the parents, it depends on more of when they're discovered. If the kid is 16, I think if the kid is 16 years or older, the parents can leave. If the kid is any younger than that, he needs guidance. And unfortunately, the parents would need to stay, but they would be on a very short leash to get a job. Any criminal record whatsoever they get thrown out. But if the kid is younger than that, they need to stay in the United States, in my opinion, and be granted citizenship.
Dan?
Well, I have similar views as you, John, but I feel like they need to become citizens no matter what. No matter what age the kid is, they need to become citizens. They have to go through the process that everyone else goes through. They can't just be... Do you want them to be illegal still? If they're found at... The parents, if on a short leash and they're still illegal, or do you want... I don't understand.
No, you grant them citizenship. However,
So
you know what?
wanna grant them
I don't know if that's true.
How about everyone? But everyone else is.
They're allowed to
like
remain.
everyone else.
They are allowed to remain
Remain
in the country.
illegally.
They're allowed to remain as illegal aliens. However,
The parents.
I don't agree with that. I mean,
they need to find a job. They need and any criminal record whatsoever, they get sent back.
Sorry, John, let me interrupt
You can't abandon. A family is the most important institution in our lives. If you don't have a family, it's very hard to succeed. If you're abandoned by your family, then that's it. That kid will most likely grow up and be an unproductive citizen.
I'm not saying to abandon them. I'm saying they have to go
not that they
through.
won't be unproductive. They could still be productive.
But without parents that love and care for you,
Right.
it's very difficult. It makes it much harder to be a successful person.
I
Imagine
agree,
not
so-
having your
so-
parents.
Dan, let me ask you this. Hold on, guys.
Right.
Dan, let me ask you this. So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You think that, the parents should be deported immediately once found, even though they do have a child that is a legal citizen in the United States?
Deported is not really the right word I would use. I would
So
say
what would you use?
I would want them to go through the process that everyone else goes through. I want them to
So becoming a legal citizen.
become a
taking
legal
the
citizen.
test.
Yes, I don't want them just to remain illegal and remain in our country. That's not what I want.
I say that they can stay here to raise their child.
But not illegally. I mean,
They can raise their child.
if they become a citizen, if they become a legal citizen, then I agree with that.
Yeah, but what if they don't want to become a citizen? They're just here to benefit the child.
Too bad. You have to become.
So
a
you're saying
citizen.
they leave?
Not
Once
leave.
that child
Why,
grows up,
if they would want to abandon their child, and because they just don't want to become a citizen, then they're not good parents. Then I mean, like, if you have to sacrifice. If you have to become a citizen, if you want to remain with your child,
I think once that child becomes a certain age,
kick them out.
there's no reason for them to be here. Is there? Unless if they truly want to become citizens,
Yes, definitely.
and they prove that they can, and they will be productive citizens and continue, then that's great. But as the child is still young, and they're in this country on a very short lease, not even granted citizenship,
The child or the
but
parent?
they still are productive people who have a clean record. If they don't have that, they don't belong here. The parents.
Right. Yeah.
It's a very touchy issue.
It is.
And
Yeah, I was gonna.
we had a lot of speculation, a lot of thought.
Yes.
I even changed my opinion right in the middle of this, saying that they should be granted citizenship immediately. No, they should wait it out and see how they are in society.
Mm.
It's a very touchy issue.
Right, and the RPA definitely wants your opinion, you the viewer. So, once you hear about that, if you could please comment below. The RPA would love, to listen and hear, your commentary below. So if you guys could please do that would be great. And so, John and Dan, so we talked about, the kids.
Yeah.
What about education for them?
Yeah, a recent thing was passed by Obama, right?
Talk about that, Dan.
What was it called again?
It's called the Dream Act.
The Dream Act.
Dream Act.
You want me to go into that?
Yeah, talk about
let
the
John
Dream
go
Act,
first. I'll
and
let
then we'll
John.
get more into education.
Yes. Well, that is education, so I mean, yeah.
The Dream Act surrounds kids who were brought here at a young age by their parents, who have discovered to be illegal immigrants, not by their own will exactly. So, what this bill, this plan, the Dream Act, proposes is that these kids receive education, they receive a college education, and they contribute to our society to the highest extent. They are productive. They become a master of a certain field of study. They join the military and give back that way. Anyone that can give back to our country and contribute to our society, who was brought here when they were younger, really with no choice by their parents, belongs here without a doubt.
Yes, I completely agree.
However, those who get anywhere even a bit off the track get sent back.
Yep.
So if the child is a United States citizen, they should, obviously receive United States education.
Yes, definitely. I mean,
Well, the point is that these kids are granted
Even though their parents are illegal.
The parents,
they're legal citizens.
they're not. This isn't really surrounding parents. This is surrounding young illegal aliens who were brought here by their parents. This is surrounding the future of America really, not the adults. That's what it's.
Right. And so should this education be provided and paid for by the government? Because obviously, some of these illegal parents just don't have, enough money at the moment to pay for their child's education or children.
It's difficult, Matt, but what other way is there? There really is no other way. More unlikely than not, the parents will not have enough money to send their kids away to college. I think they're granted they're granted education at a university or a college. I think that's the whole point of the bill.
Right.
It's going to cost a lot of money, though, right?
It will cost money, but
I was just going to ask you,
it's better than the alternative. It's better than it's better than leaving them, or it's impossible to deport them all, but leaving them to grow up and not be prosperous. If they're here, might as well make them productive, right?
Yep.
So Dan, you want to add any commentary on if the government should pay for
their education?
Yeah.
It's difficult to say because it costs money, but John's right. I mean, education is the most important, and America is falling behind with education, to be honest, and we need to educate our
it's true. The education of American students is sort of falling behind, other countries, which is obviously not good
especially in math and science,
which
right.
is key. So,
which is definitely the most important for jobs and
especially catching up to our friends in the East, the Chinese, who are way ahead of us in that right now.
Yeah, it's scary.
Indians and Chinese, we want to be the best, of course.
So I just want to finalize one last question, and then we'll come to a close with this. So if any illegal person is found in the United States, I think that they should either have the option of taking a citizenship test right on the spot, or have the option of being deported immediately.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Sorry. An illegal adult who came here
With no kid, right? We're saying with no kid here?
with kids or without kids.
Yeah, with kids or without.
And
So
illegal.
there's two different.
They're two different subjects. I mean, let's talk without kids. Let's talk without
We're
kids.
going to talk without.
Let's just do without kids. How do you feel
Let's
about
say
that?
one individual
Yeah, just one individual.
is found. You want it to be above or below the age of 18.
Let's do an adult. Let's do like a 30-year-old man. Let's do a 30-year-old man, all right?
Or woman.
Or woman. All right,
That's
doesn't
fair
matter.
enough.
So, what do you feel about that?
And that's what I think the majority of illegal immigrants is.
Yeah, definitely.
An illegal immigrant is an illegal immigrant. They should be sent back. They should be deported if they came here illegally. They're not paying taxes. They are here for economic reasons only. The only option I give is joining the military.
Join the military.
Now, the most
because that's really giving back. That's really giving back to our
The
country.
most common argument for like the opposition is, they do jobs that other people won't do, like Americans. What do you feel about that? I'm curious.
I feel that is implausible.
Yes.
That
Stupid that jobs are being given to illegals before United States citizens.
No, well, they don't know they're illegal. I mean, if they knew they're... I mean, most
of them
time,
know.
it is true they work for lower wages and they
Yes.
do any job that they
Which
can.
isn't right in the first place. They should be allowed equal opportunities to be paid the United States minimum wage salary.
Now, we just have Tim MacDonald walked in here about, and we want to get his opinion on the subject. So, do you know, we're talking about...
So, Tim, we're talking about, if an illegal immigrant is found in the United States, should they either have the option of taking a citizenship test on the spot, or should they be deported immediately?
This is an adult too, no children, just one illegal immigrant. What is your opinion about that?
If they're illegal, they should be deported immediately, or as John said, they could join the military too, because that would show.
You don't agree on giving them a test right on the spot? You come down?
No, you know what?
Not a test. They have
That
to
can
go
happen
through what
before they
have to
enter
go
the
through what
country
everyone
illegally.
else is going through. I mean, it's not fair that they can just be granted
I
citizenship.
agree. I base this off history. I want to cite the Revolutionary War here, where there were a lot of German immigrants who came to the United States during the mid-17th century. I'm sorry, 18th century, who fought for the Patriots in the Revolutionary War. They were given land grants. They were given land grants. There was a lot in New York, especially, and they were allowed citizenship because they proved their allegiance to our country. And I think that whether they're doing it or not, a very low percentage, less than 1% of Americans, able Americans, actually serve in the military. I think only the bravest and the most dedicated of those do. It's not an easy task.
Okay, so why don't we talk about now, let's do a different situation.
Okay.
Let's say, there are parents and there are kids involved.
Well, I thought that was the last question.
Yeah, I would just keep going.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. This is a good topic.
Yes, definitely.
It's always important to reiterate, stuff. So, the parents, the kids, should the parents be deported? No, right?
So is the
I'm
kid
sorry,
born here,
repeat
or
the
the kid
question.
just
So
with
this
Both.
is
If
this
the
like,
kid was born here,
are we just trying to get Tim's
yeah, we're gonna get Tim's opinion.
Because we already talked about this. We're sorry we're bringing it up again. But we just want to hear Tim's
No, it's okay. Next question.
No, Tim, we want to hear your opinion on this.
Okay, repeat the question, please.
So, if there are parents and there are kids involved, should the parents be deported immediately?
Is the kid born in the U.S.?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a legal
Yes.
citizen.
The parents should be deported, and
What about the kids? Stay right?
the kid could go with the parents, but he remains a U.S. citizen. When he's older, he can come back to the U.S.
That's a viewpoint.
As he
That's
wants
a
to.
viewpoint.
Yeah.
We definitely want a commentary, below, your viewpoint.
Because we
on that.
all three of us here, me, Tim, and John,
Three
we
of
all.
us.
All four of us.
No, well, that's we all have different opinions about this, as you could tell. So
I have a different opinion too.
yes,
And
but
even opinions that seem similar are different in small ways. So, and it may seem small, but it's all very
Yes.
important.
very important. So please comment and
Comment below. Even though this is a very controversial issue, we still want your opinion in the comment section below.
Yes, definitely.
Alright, we're coming to a close here. Just want to let you guys to check out the RPA's website at www.therepublicanpartyforamerica.com, and on that website you can find all interesting stuff, such as our store, which was recently started. We have bumper stickers and now we have t-shirts, so check that out.
Yes.
And then also on the website you can find our Facebook page and Twitter page.
And I wanted to say that we hope we're doing our next podcast on gun control.
That's a big subject recently. So
Believe it or not, the
Tune
Second
in.
Amendment is a huge issue in our country right now.
Probably going to be
huge
doing
issue.
another long video on that. There's definitely a lot to say on that.
Yeah, so please tune in, definitely. All right.
All right, guys, thanks for listening.